Howdy, y'all. It's Reese, aka Bearman Prime, on this June 2nd. Welcome back to my Read the Bible in a Year series. Thank you again for joining me. God bless you all. Card the top right hand corner for the rest of the playlist. And please hit the like button, the subscribe button, that notification bell. I really do appreciate it. Alright, so yesterday we continued the story of Daniel and we saw the writing on the wall, quite literally. We saw how God had sent a message to King Belshazzar of Babylon, how his reign as not only his reign as king, but the reign of the Babylonian Empire was coming to an end. He literally wrote it on the wall in plain writing, and Daniel revealed that. And then after that, we see the rise of the next great world power that comes after the Babylonians, which is the Persian Empire right now, under King Darius. So let's see what happens today as we go to Daniel chapter 6. It should be a very familiar story to most people, Daniel and the lion's den. So Daniel chapter 6, beginning in verse 1. Darius thought it would be a good idea to choose 120 satraps to rule throughout his kingdom. He chose 3 men to rule over the 120 satraps. Daniel was one of the 3 supervisors. The king put these men in this position to keep anyone from cheating him. Daniel proved himself to be a better supervisor than any of the others. He did this by his good character and great ability. The king was so impressed with Daniel that he planned to make him ruler over the whole kingdom. But when the other supervisors and the satraps heard about this, they were very jealous. They tried to find reasons to accuse Daniel. So they watched what Daniel did as he went about doing the business of the government. But they could not find anything wrong with him, so they could not accuse him of doing anything wrong. Daniel was a man people could trust. He did not cheat the king, and he worked very hard. Finally, they said, "We will never find any reason to accuse Daniel of doing something wrong. So we must find something to complain about that is connected to the law of his God." So the 2 supervisors and the satraps went as a group to the king. They said, "King Darius, live forever. The supervisors, prefects, satraps, advisors, and governors have all agreed on something. We think that the king should make this law and that everyone must obey it. For the next 30 days, whoever prays to any god or man except you, king, will be thrown into the lion's den. Now, king, make the law and sign the paper it is written on so that it cannot be changed, because the laws of the Medes and the Persians cannot be canceled or changed." So King Darius made the law and signed it. Daniel always prayed to God 3 times every day. 3 times every day, he bowed down on his knees to pray and praise God. Even though Daniel heard about the new law, he still went up to his house to pray. He went up to the upper room of his house and opened the windows that faced toward Jerusalem. Then Daniel bowed down on his knees and prayed just as he always had done. Then the supervisors and satraps went as a group and found Daniel praying and asking God for help. So they went to the king and talked to him about the law he had made. They said, "King Darius, you signed the law that says for the next 30 days, anyone who prays to any god or man except you, the king, will be thrown into the lion's den. You did sign that law, didn't you?" The king answered, "Yes, I signed that law, and the laws of the Medes and Persians cannot be canceled or changed." Then they said to the king, "That man Daniel is not paying any attention to you. He is one of the captives from Judah, and he is not paying any attention to the law you signed. Daniel still prays to his God 3 times every day." The king became very sad and upset when he heard this. He decided to save Daniel. He worked until sunset trying to think of a way to save him. Then the men went as a group to the king and said to him, "Remember, king, that the law of the Medes and Persians says that no law or command signed by the king can ever be canceled or changed." So King Darius gave the order. They brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, "May the God you serve save you." A big rock was brought and put over the opening of the lion's den. Then the king used his ring and put his seal on the rock. He also used the rings of his officials and put their seals on the rock. This showed that no one could move that rock and bring Daniel out of the lion's den. Then King Darius went back to his house. He did not eat that night. He did not want anyone to come and entertain him. He could not sleep all night. The next morning, King Darius got up just as it was getting light and ran to the lion's den. He was very worried. When he got to the lion's den, he called to Daniel. He said, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God been able to save you from the lions? You always serve your God." Daniel answered, "King, live forever. My God sent his angel to save me. The angel closed the lions' mouths. The lions have not hurt me because my God knows I am innocent. I never did anything wrong to you, King." King Darius was very happy. He told his servants to lift Daniel out of the lion's den. And when Daniel was lifted out of the den, they did not find any injury on his body. The lions did not hurt Daniel because he trusted in his God. Then the king gave a command to bring the men who had accused Daniel to the lion's den. The men and their wives and children were thrown into the lion's den. The lions grabbed them before they hit the floor. The lions ate their bodies and then chewed on their bones. Then King Darius wrote this letter to all the people from other nations and language groups all around the world. "Greetings! I am making a new law. This law is for people in every part of my kingdom. All of you must fear and respect the God of Daniel. Daniel's God is the living God. He lives forever. His kingdom will never be destroyed. His rule will never end. God helps and saves people. He does amazing miracles in heaven and on earth. He saved Daniel from the lions." So Daniel was successful during the time Darius was king and when Cyrus the Persian was king. All right, so there you have it. So, see God's great power to save and protect once again. Here we see Daniel is accused wrongly of breaking the law of men. And of course, we all know that the law of God supersedes any law of man, that we must love and obey and worship God above all other things, all other gods. And so these people in their hubris tried to get rid of Daniel by throwing him into the lion's den, by making it a law that they knew that Daniel would break. But of course, Daniel's faith and obedience to God superseded all that. And we see God, in his righteousness and his justice, protected Daniel from the lion's den. And thus, those who accused him got what was coming to them. So that's all for today, and that's all we're going to do in the book of Daniel. So we're going to move on tomorrow to our last book we're going to cover in the Old Testament, actually, the book of Jonah. So we'll cover more of that tomorrow. Thank you again for joining me. I sure do appreciate it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.